Well, the voters of Karnataka are yet to avail free electricity as promised by the new government. But even before that, they're in for a shock over the surge in the electricity prices. Citizens will now have to cough up at least about 2.89 paisa extra per unit in June if their electricity consumption breaches, of course, the 200 unit threshold that has been set by the state government. Now, however, those consuming under 200 units will still get a zero electricity bill. This, of course, comes under various conditions. You'll have to right now. The government will look at the last 1 year, an average of that will be calculated. There are many permutations and combinations here as well. Meanwhile, the hike, of course, comes from the fuel and power purchase cost adjustment and arrears from April. The additional FPPCA of rupees 49 paisa per unit will add to the 70 paisa hike from April and June. Now, the decision, of course, was taken during the tenure of the Bombay government, but it's only being implemented now. This means that those that consume over 200 units of electricity will have to pay rupees 2.89 paisa extra in June. Meanwhile, of course, the BJP, which has been saying, well, there was a proposal that was sent earlier, but the BJP didn't really go ahead with it because they didn't want to burden the people. That's the reason today we saw the BJP even stage a protest. They said that this is the Siddaramaiah government's attitude towards the people as they increase the power tariff. Firstly, let's listen to some of the reactions that have been coming in on this particular story. So there's also an direction coming from the KRC to increase the tariff on power. While of course the government has been promising that 200 units will be free for anybody else, now it would be more. When we spoke to the energy minister, he says that all of these orders are from the BJP time and we are only implementing it now.
See, KRC is an independent body, statutory body. They recommended, but we never accepted. BJP government didn't accept the hike of power tariff by KRC, whatever the reasons they are. If these people are really interested to come to the rescue of the common man, they should upfront, the government should pay the losses which KRC has estimated and see that the burden is not passed on the common people. They don't want to do that. They want to pass all the burden on the common people and blame BJP. We have not passed any orders. It's KRC order. KRC is an independent body and they have recommended. If the government says that we are going to pay, they are all right. They say that the losses has to be made good. That's all. Whether government pays or the people who use electricity pays. Now, if government wants to really help the people whom they have guaranteed free power, they should come and pay the losses. They don't want to do that. They just want to blame the previous government. If I was there in their place, I would have said that government will pay for the losses, will not pass on to the consumer. Why can't they do that?
ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು 200 ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು ಯಾರು ಕೂಡ ಬಿಲ್ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕಾದಂತಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಬಾಡಿಗೆದಾರರಿಗೂ ಅನ್ವಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ಗೆ ಅನ್ವಯ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಮಾರಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್? ಹೇಳಪ್ಪ, ನೀವೇ ಹೇಳಿ. ಅವರು ಹೇಳೋದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೂ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊಸರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲ್ಲು ಹುಡುಕಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೀಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಇದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಇವರು ಜನವಿರೋಧಿ ಪಕ್ಷ. ಇದು ಅವರು ಅಧಿಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾಗ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಹೊಡೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಲಂಚ ಹೊಡೆದು ರಾಜ್ಯನ ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಹೆಸರು ತಗೊಬಂದು ಹೋದರು. ಈಗ ಅವ್ರು ನಮಗೆ ಪಾಠ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಏನು ಹೇಳೋದು?
These are teething problems. Everything would be settled. We have given due date to implement those guarantees. So all these guarantees have been announced and a date has been announced that from that day it will start implementing. So whatever, if the new house they have shifted to a new house, to a bigger house, that house did have an electrical meter and that house did have a reading. So that reading would be considered. So there won't be any issues at all. BJP is now desperate, out of power, like a fish out of water. So BJP cannot survive out of power. They have got used to power. So, and the arrogance used to come through power. So that is the problem they want to create everywhere.
They said they're against the price rise, they're against the inflation. Now They have become responsible for the price rise, for the inflation. Increasing the power tariff by 65 paisa per unit is really condemnable, and as well as the fixed charges for the people sincerely paying. Actually, the power prices should go down. The power generation cost is reducing, but here we can see the power cost is increasing. Instead of being pro people, they have become anti people. Already they have been showing their colors. The colors of Congress is seen.
Sir, I would like to ask you, we are seeing today politics has broken out over this entire issue. While free electricity to 200 units tune is being given on one side, on the other side you have BJP which is saying that the Congress has hiked the tariff. Congress has now hit back and they have said that this was done during the BJP's time. We have only implemented it. As a consumer today, as someone who's entitled to the 200 free units of electricity, what is your say on this entire issue, sir?
See, this is just a political drama. Each of Congress and BJP are playing. End of the day, the consumer are the affected parties. Because we have seen these games from so many years. Neither the Congress nor the BJP are saint. Okay, they are just actually playing with the public. And now they are saying that, okay, you have to avail. There are certain conditions which he has not disclosed, or there was no conditions at all when the promises has made. So this is obvious because they wanted to milk the public and get into the power and later say that okay, these are the conditions.
सी सब कुछ ही पॉलिटिकल स्टंट है. आज एक बिल पास होता है, वो इम्प्लीमेंट होता है दूसरे गवर्नमेंट के टाइम पे. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि वो पहले गवर्नमेंट को पता नहीं था कि वो बिल पास होके रखा था, वो बैठे थे उस पे. सो कोई बात ही नहीं कर रहा है. और जहां तक कि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल का हाइक है, 200 यूनिट्स फॉर दी SEC C+ और मे बी D+, द लोअर स्ट्रेटा ऑफ सोसाइटी माइट गेट अ लिटिल हेल्प विद दैट. बट इफ यू सी द अर्बन सिटीजन ऑफ द सिटी, उनके लिए तो ये बहुत वो शर्तें लागू वाली बात हो गई ना. रिटेल में होता है शर्तें लागू, तो 30 यूनिट का कैसे आप वो मुआवजा कैसे करोगे, मतलब उसका कैसे आप मेजर करोगे. तो अभी दो पार्टीज के बीच में एक मुद्दा उठा है, तो उस मुद्दे पे दोनों उछल रहे, कूद रहे, और हम पब्लिक इस पे सफरर हो रहा है. दैट्स ऑल. आई थिंक दिस इज हाउ इट इज.
Well, we've heard a host of reactions there from the former chief minister to the current chief minister to ministers. But the person who's, of course, in charge of power here, the energy minister, Mr. KJ George, I spoke to him a little while earlier to get clarity on what exactly does this mean in terms of hike and why has it happened. Let's listen into what he had to say. I wanted to get a statement from you about this tariff increase firstly. So what is the breakup of this tariff increase? We understand that this was
the tariff increase has happened to the thing. One is our regulator controller, they have announced the increase in BJP time only.
Okay.
Okay. The second thing is this cost adjustments.
Okay.
That cost adjustments, whatever the thing, increase in the PPA and fuel, dual means coal and all.
Yeah.
But also it has happened in BJP time.
Okay. So you're saying this is
BJP
only being
time
implemented now?
Because they say that the 2-3 months they didn't implement it. They told our officials not to implement it now.
Okay.
Those days. Now it has come to our plate.
Okay, so you're saying it's only being implemented now and there has not been any sort of increase?
Yeah, it is nothing. In our time we are not increased. Whatever in their time only it has all increased. They are not implemented it. Now we have to implement it.
So what do you make of the BJP still coming out and protesting, saying that, the Congress government has increased these prices, sir?
No, we are not increased. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It has happened. The regulatory authority has increased not now.
Yeah.
It has increased when they are in power only. They are not implemented it.
Right, sir.
Okay. Second thing is, this is from the central government direction. That is the whatever the fuel cost as well as the thing.
Well, we have our political representatives to answer the people of Karnataka about, these promises, this particular hike, what the energy minister had to say. We'll discuss all this. We have Sudha from the BJP. She's a spokesperson joining us. We also have Satyabhi Shivarna, spokesperson from the Congress party, and also Sandeep Anirudhan also joins us. He's the founder of Citizens Agenda for Bengaluru, also an activist here. Thank you all for joining us. Firstly, to the Congress party, clear question at this point. We heard the energy minister there clearly say, well, It was during the time of the BJP that this actually came into the picture. They didn't implement it, and we are doing it. Now, can you wash your hands off this particular, tariff hike by saying BJP didn't do it during that time, though it was supposed to be implemented there? Now, when the former Chief Minister, I spoke to him earlier, he says that we didn't implement it deliberately because we didn't want to burden the people. So was the intention here to make a little bit of extra because you're going to, of course, spend a lot of revenue giving those 200 units of free electricity to the people of Karnataka?
No, Deepak, thank you for having me on your show firstly. And, initially the Bharatiya Janata Party would tell us and tell the people of Karnataka that, our guarantees are a sham, that it cannot be implemented at any cost. And now I have nothing but to empathize with their envy and discomfort and desperation. They are, now that we are implementing every guarantee that we promised, they're trying to create a mountain out of a molehill, and they're trying to resort to back to the one job that they're good at, that is to disseminate misinformation and create confusion amongst the people of Karnataka as well as the country. Now, let me dumb it down for them a little bit. Now, the KERC in January 2023 issues an order to impose the fuel and power purchase cost adjustment, what we call the FPPCA, of rupees 1.49 per unit. This was in Jan 2023. In the previous dispensation, which was supposed to be collected in March. This didn't happen due to administrative problems because the entire government and the entire cabinet was busy acting as star campaigners when they were actually required to do real jobs.
But the BJP here says that they didn't do it because they didn't want to burden the people.
Let me just complete. On secondly,
exactly, that is what
on May 12th,
CM Bombay has very well narrated in his channel.
Madam, let me just finish. On May 12th, under the previous dispensation itself, one day before the results of the election were announced, a 0.70 per unit hike was made by the KERC. This has nothing to do with our government. Now, despite all this, Deepak, my statistics and the government statistics is that the average power consumption per household is 53 to 54 units per month. Number one, despite the increase that was okayed by the previous dispensation and that was mandated by the KERC owing to the national government policies and their notification, if you consume 200 units or less on an average every year, you will have free electricity. You have nothing to be worried about at all. And our scheme will benefit 96% of Kannadigas, whose average consumption is 53 to 54 per unit per every month. What is the issue here? And we are not economically unsound or limited
Let's once again. Yes. Nobody is questioning that. Yes, the Chief Minister. One second. Let me butt in there. Now, I'd like to ask you here that nobody is questioning, Mr. Satyabish, about the Congress government. Yes, made its promise. Did of course announce that 200 units, anyone using below it will be given free electricity. This, of course, applies to now even 2.89 if it applies to Bescom and if it does apply to Bengaluru or major cities like this, it is a big hike, because when you're talking about Bengaluru, we are not looking at an average that you're talking about. We're not looking at 50 to 60 units per household. We're looking at electric appliances which consume a lot of electricity. The prices, of course, go up. Many of them are looking at the 180 to 200 units mark, and there as well you're considering an average. So there is chances that it goes up about 200, and once it does, it's the burden is on them. They have to, of course, cough up this 3 rupees extra per unit. So it's not a small amount for the people, of course, who don't fall under this ambit.
No, see, now I work in an independent law office. Now the average consumption here is about 80 to 90. Now, if you average that throughout a year as well, I will come below 200 unit consumption per month, and many people like me will benefit from this scheme.
But you're in a commercial establishment. If you're in a law office, you're in a commercial establishment, Mr. Satyabish, so you're not eligible for free electricity at all. This is for residential homes. The Chief Minister himself has said it.
I'm just giving you an example of the average consumption of electricity even in a law office. If it is that low, it will definitely help the people of Karnataka. And we don't need lessons from the Bharatiya Janata Party on electricity consumption. Let me tell you, in Gujarat, their dispensation is incurring double the expenditure to purchase electricity from Adani and their crony capitalist friends. They're not even giving free electricity there. Isn't that a burden on the public?
Let's get a
Isn't
question
that
in from the
burden
BJP,
on the
Mr.
public?
Satyabees. Let's get Sudha here. Let's get Sudha. I'd like to ask the BJP one question. You protested today, but was there really any sort of clarity among the protesters? Because this had to be implemented in the month of Jan, and then it had to be applicable from the month of March. The BJP doesn't do it. And now you're protesting for something that was supposed to happen 4 months ago under your regime. Now, really, is this just a reason to protest, or was there anything more than that?
See, we are not protesting for the sake of protesting, first and foremost. Second thing is what they had promised, that they're going to give 200 units free to everybody. And this was told, it is recorded statement. It is not told behind the walls or something. This is a recorded statement which was told by the present CM. He told that 200 units is going to be free for me also. Now this is not being implemented. Now they're saying the commercial people are not going to get it and the rented people are not going to get it. And again in the rented, they're going to bifurcate it. They have to have a separate RR meter. And
the Chief Minister has said that the people who are on rent as well are eligible to get it.
No, but there is again a bifurcation for that. If they are, they have to have separate RR meter. And what about the people who are having the same RR meter and different tenants are staying over there? And why did they hike the current prices today per unit? So it is a huge hike, I must say. And when it was this proposal was given by the KERC to our government, we have rejected it. Why did they implement it? When they could slash Lokayukta during their government, they could have very well rejected this. This was a very minor issue for them. Why didn't they reject this? Yeah. And they have told very clearly that they're going to give for everybody. Now they're coming with so many clauses.
I'll just ask Anirudh. Let's get in a citizen's voice here. Anirudh, I'd like to ask you. You're a taxpayer yourself, and you live in a part of Bengaluru. As per my understanding, that of course has one of the largest taxpayers in the state of Karnataka, in the IT capital. Now the question here is, most of their homes of course would be consuming over 200 units of electricity. Now if you're going to increase it by at least about 3 rupees, up to 2.89, you're looking at least 600 rupees increase per month. Now you're already having the taxpayers pay the highest amount of tax here in Karnataka and then burdening them with 600 rupees. Of course there's a large number of people who will be affected by the free electricity scheme, but there's also a burden and we can't ignore that populace altogether, right?
It's a middleman who is paying the taxes burden now.
For me, it's a good announcement. Yeah. Firstly, I live in Whitefield, which is one of the largest taxpayers in the country, not just Karnataka. But coming to the power issue, the announcement of free power slab is a good initiative, and I'll tell you why. Because we have to keep in mind we are going through a climate change crisis. We have an environmental crisis on our hands, and our planet is literally getting destroyed. So rewarding good behavior is a great opportunity. I mean, having the scheme now is a good opportunity to reward good behavior and penalize bad behavior. But I don't understand why the government has created such a convoluted scheme. It could have had a very simple scheme. 200 units to everybody free. Doesn't matter who it is. Anything above that, you have slabs. You have incremental slabs. From 200 to 300, you pay a certain amount. 300 to 400, you pay a higher amount. 400 to 500 units, you pay a very steep amount. That way, what will happen? You will incentivize consumers to become more aware of how much power they're consuming, and they will try to reduce power consumption, which will benefit the entire state. It will benefit the entire city, which is power starved, and it will also help the environment. Now, this government has convoluted it so badly. First of all, it promised it will be 200 units free to everyone. There were no riders. So more or less, it looks like it has gone back on its promise because it has many riders. One, it seems they will estimate the average use of a consumer in the previous 3 months. Only if it is below 200, then will they get that. Now that is a stab in the back. Now, what about somebody who's consuming 300? Willing to use less than 200.
One by one. Let's go one by one. That first point, I'd like to ask the Congress party. That first point. It's a very interesting. One second. Let's get the Congress party. I need an answer to this because the average that the Chief Minister spoke about is of the entire year. Now, even me, of course, I have a lot of doubts on this. People in the state have a lot of doubts about this. The question here is now there are many people, of course, who've not paid the electricity bill for about a year. So which average are you going to take? The second question is, now they've also said, if, for example, if any household, including mine, if I was using about 120 units to 130 units per month, the average would be taken and plus 10% additional would be given. So that means if my average was 130, I am eligible from the state of Karnataka for not 200 units of free power. It is only going to give me about 140 units of free power. Now this means
Do you think
that
the
if I
common
want
man
to
will
upgrade my
understand this
lifestyle,
strategy?
if
Ayush is interjecting. I thought the question was for me.
no, I'd like to ask the Congress. I'd like to ask the Congress if anybody wants to upgrade their, lifestyle. They want to bring in, say, a cooler in the house, an AC, or a fridge, or a washing machine. You're going to have units increase. That means all of a sudden, in a matter of a couple of months, you're not eligible for this scheme altogether. And this can be in the rural part of Karnataka, or it can be in the urban part. So, what happened to the entire promise of 200 units? Because now all of a sudden it becomes the average of what you used over the last 1 year. I don't have clarity about what if I didn't pay electricity bills for the last 1 year. What happens then?
See, to just the point on eligibility, and if you haven't used any electricity, or sorry, you haven't paid any bills of electricity, you're automatically entitled and you're eligible for the guarantee that we are providing. Number one, you are the bar is for the eligibility. You are entitled, you are eligible. Now, secondly, if you are using, the thought behind the scheme is to ensure that the real needy and essential people who really depend on electricity, and people, for whom it is a burden to pay electricity consumption fees, we are going to target them, and our scheme is going to target them, and we're going to weed out all unnecessary expenditure. We can't have, a non-correlated policy implemented in a state with so many complications and with so many problems. We also have to take into consideration the economy of the state of Karnataka, and we also have to ensure that the people who really deserve these schemes get it. That is the policy of the Karnataka government, and that will definitely be implemented, and it will be lauded. Deepak, I assure you that it will be lauded by the people of Karnataka.
I wouldn't argue. I'd like to butt in. I wouldn't argue that the poor should be benefited by any of these schemes. Yes, it is good to target the people who need it. But what the BJP keeps saying, I'd like to ask Sudha to come in here. The BJP keeps saying, well, you didn't mention this before the elections. Before the elections, it was never the people who deserve will get 200 units of free electricity. It was everybody will get it. That's where this question really comes up, doesn't it?
Deepak, I would like to tell that it is not only we BJP, it is the whole people of Karnataka are questioning this. You get many clips of, you talk to any normal citizen, every person is talking about it. Everybody are raising the question regarding it. It is not only BJP. We are just, putting ourselves forefront on behalf of them. Otherwise, you talk to anybody, they are asking the clarifications, and they're very well saying why this was not told earlier. Why didn't they clarify? They told that, it is free for me, it is free for them. On the stage, it was told. I'm telling it is a recorded statement. It is not within the walls which was given. So they have to clarify it, and see, irrespective of whatever it is, they have to go with their words. Today they are not going with their words and coming up trying to do a blame game with the BJP. That is not going to work out.
You should have please asked.
No. Blame game with the BJP is not going to work out. No.
Fuel prices are increasing.
Blame game with the BJP is not going to work out. People are questioning you. You need to. Yeah, exactly.
Lessons and moral lectures.
Yeah, black
Let's
money.
ask Sandeep Anirudhan here. Sandeep, you of course spoken to a lot of residents in your vicinity and on RWAs. Let's
and we have all the rights to question
One second, Sudha, hold on, please hold on 1 second. Let's get to Sandeep here. Sandeep, if you could give us a little more clarity as to what the people are saying.
So, Deepak, it's very simple. The best comparison is the power scheme there is in Delhi. It is not confusing. It is very simple. There is slab 1 is just free for everybody. Slab 2 is more expensive. Slab 3 is even more expensive. Slab 4 is more steep. So the higher consumers, we can assume they are rich people or ones who are superfluous consumers. They pay the highest price, which is good. And the lowest consumer, which fall below a slab, are ideally the poor and who cannot afford it, and therefore they're getting subsidized, which is good. But there is no confusion there. And now, third, we are also rewarding those who show good behavior. That is, if a person falls in a slab just above that free slab and he becomes conscientious. He doesn't want to consume too much power. Or even a rich person tomorrow wants to become conscientious. He wants to contribute to society and to ecology and environment. He reduces his consumption. He gets rewarded, which is good. And look at Delhi. They are not suffering a loss. Everybody thought when they are going to give free power, their electricity board will undergo loss. No, it is profiting. So this is the mistake Congress has done, is to confuse this whole issue. They could have just gone and copied the Delhi government model and implemented here. It is very simple. There are no confusion. It benefits everyone and you will not undergo a loss. Let them just go to Delhi government and ask them what they've done and do it here. Why this reinvention of the wheel is my question, and why all this politics around it? It is unnecessary. Deepak?
Right. Now, as far let's get in the Congress there to respond.
See, number one, you cannot compare Delhi to that of Karnataka. Delhi is union territory, and it's mostly being administered by the national government, and the Delhi government has specific funds that it will utilize
more
for a
importantly,
specific
the
task.
size of Delhi, of course, is much lesser than Karnataka. One would say it's almost like a capital city, and the state of Karnataka versus Delhi, you can't compare in terms of the population.
Not just population, the complications, the
it
kind
was just to come into power. They have, fooled the people of Karnataka.
Madam, you have fooled the entire nation. You have fooled the entire nation when you said you will bring
Today,
back
India
black
is
money.
standing on
You
the
fooled
third
the entire
topmost.
nation when you said
Today, India is standing on the
dollar to the
topmost of
rupee
the
will
world.
drop.
You probably
You
are not
fooled the
unaware
entire
of it.
nation
Please
when
go
you
through
said the fuel prices
news.
will decrease. You have fooled them completely.
Well, let's stick to the topic
I'm telling
at hand
India
here.
is standing third.
I'm requesting
top of
both
the world.
the
Today, you are unaware
spokespersons
of
from
it.
the Congress and the BJP. Let's request both the spokespersons from the Congress and the BJP. Let's stick to the topic. Of course, you can fire your guns at each other, but through the topic itself. Because right now we are talking about, yes, the 200 units, up to 200 that the Congress has assured could benefit a lot of people. But you cannot take away from the fact that this increase of nearly 3 rupees, especially in urban areas where people are paying, are going to consume over 200 units, it is going to be a burden for them, and it's not a small one. And these are, of course, your taxpayers who are once again going to be burdened with an additional amount of money. So does that make no difference at all? And if the former Chief Minister is saying they didn't actually implement it because the people would be affected, why couldn't the Congress party as well do it? That's the question that's coming up.
Is that for me?
Yes, Mr. Satyavesh, go ahead.
Hello, who's the question?
No, the KERC is not an independent organization like how in your interview Mr. Basuraj Bommai called it to be. It is well within the government of Karnataka, and the government of Karnataka has okayed its proposal to impose fuel and power purchase cost adjustment in January. That was supposed to be collected in March, but that could not be collected due to some administrative reasons. And then subsequent to that, the code of conduct. Now they are just on today, they are saying, no, we didn't okay it. This is completely untrue. There is a certified order of in January 2023. And before our government even came into function, on May 12th, KERC gives this another order. It passes another order of increasing the tariff by 0.70 rupees, of 0.70 paise. This was okayed by the previous government. And to be honest, we are too early and we're at a nascent stage of this government, but be rest assured that the people of Karnataka and the deserving people will definitely benefit from the guarantees that have been assured to them. We have practiced what we preach every single time.
Stop
we
the
have
eyewash
fulfilled
with the
in
people of
action
Karnataka.
all our promises. See, I don't appreciate the interjection, but I empathize with your enviness and your discomfort, madam, especially after this massive humiliation in the election.
It is not discomfort. It is all people are questioning what you are given an open
Well,
statement.
let's get a closing comment here. Let's get a closing comment. Satyavesh there summed it up well. He said that, they are going to ensure that the people of the state, largely the poor, are going to be benefited. The final, question to, Sudha there from the BJP. What would you like to say? The Congress is saying that, you didn't, ensure that most of your promises in the manifesto were fulfilled. The Congress is doing it, and this is just vendetta, trying to just hit out at them for no reason at all. And you're making up reasons the Congress is saying.
See, it is not we BJP. I'm telling it very clearly again and again. It is Deepak. It is the people of Karnataka who are raising this question. Even you know that very well. You have been speaking. All the channels have been speaking to all the common people of Karnataka. And take the history of Congress in the past few days. Take it from the other state. Even Rajasthan told that they are going to waive. Rahul Gandhi told that they are going to waive all the loan charges against the farmers. But in fact, they didn't waive off. In fact, they've got a show cause notice on their land because the people of Rajasthan believed that they're going to waive off the loan. But and they didn't pay the EMIs, and today they've got a show cause notice on their land. This is what is happening in Karnataka also. This is the game what Congress is playing with the people, and they're playing with the sentiments of the people, and they're doing an eyewash after this.
Well,
so in the coming days, you'll come to know what all blunders they have been doing it for the sake of power, giving wrong assumptions, wrong promises to the people of Karnataka, and throughout wherever they're contesting. So previous states have also proved it, and Karnataka is also proving it. And we are not very eager about it. The people of Karnataka who have got them with secular thumbing majority are
Sudhaji, thank you.
So let them not.
Thank you for your comments there. Thank you for joining us as well. I'll have to cut you short there. We'll have to move on. But as far as this particular issue is concerned, the Congress is saying, well, hold on. We are here for the people of Karnataka. We will live up to the promises. There also, as far as this particular tariff hike is concerned, the Congress here maintains that, well, it is only being implemented now. It was something that had to be implemented during the time of Mr. Basuraj Bommai's government, the BJP government in the state of Karnataka. Let's see, of course, in the coming days, as this scheme gets implemented, how it's received by the people in the state, and more importantly, how many people, and especially the poor, are benefited. Now, moving on now to another story coming in from Karnataka. In the past few years, of course, we've seen multiple cases of moral policing, especially in the Dakshina Kannada region. Now, days after Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and his deputy, D.K. Shivkumar, said no to saffronization and moral policing in the state, the state Home Minister has now reiterated the same. Karnataka Home Minister G. Parameshwara has said that a special squad of sort within the police department will be formed, and this will particularly tackle moral policing in the Dakshina Kannada region. He also said that an anti-communal wing will be first constituted in Mangaluru Commissionerate, and then later, of course, it will be spread across different districts. Let's now listen to first what the Home Minister had to say.
See, in Dakshina Kannada, particularly in Mangalore, a lot of moral policing, the so-called moral policing is happening. People are fed up with it. Some people are trying to create this in a big way. So we would like to stop this moral policing at once and then take whatever necessary steps that, this will not be repeated, again and again. We would like to create an atmosphere, a communal harmony atmosphere, so that people live in peace. That is why today we have taken a decision to constitute a force within the police force to look into this offense.
Well, we really have to see